Welcome to the Card Subject to Change podcast for the week of April 18th, 2020. I'm Austin.
James.
Ed. We still don't know how to do an intro.
Yep.
He fucked up. We fucked up.
So it's been quite a week for wrestling as the effects of the coronavirus continue. And we've got quite a show tonight, including the main event, which Ed picked.
Are we going to spoil it, or are we just going straight into the news?
We spoiled it at the start of the last episode too. We need to give them some. Well, we need to give our one viewer something to listen to, something to look forward to,
or to skim to. But regardless, the main event of the main is the final deletion: Jeff Hardy Brother Nero versus Matt Hardy.
I know it's Jeff Hardy at this point.
I'm the guy who's not watched it, so forgive me for that one.
No worries.
So yeah, let's just get right into it and start with the news. Or the pre-show. The pre-show, that's what we're calling it, right?
Yes.
That's the name of the segment, keeping it on theme, on brand.
But it's okay, we're allowed to fuck up because the card is subject to change.
But
too easy.
A little bit slow tonight.
All right, to start off, on a somber note, Howard Finkel passed away yesterday, I think. But yeah, I have not watched a lot of older WWF or just I haven't watched a lot of Howard Finkel in general, like announcing stuff. The one match I can think of was Alberto Del Rio versus CM Punk, where CM Punk brought him out as his personal ring announcer. But he seems to be an all-around good guy. There's been a lot of good footage. Particularly the Anderson and Gallows segment was awesome, where they were telling the story about him.
He was the voice of the WWF for a very long time. I think he has 31 straight WrestleManias where he was the announcer before he ended in 32.
Indeed, he is rather iconic, and rest in peace, Fink.
Yep. James?
Ed, why don't you take one?
Well, a little bit on a happier note. AEW had a World Championship match this past Wednesday, and it was a match. It was certainly a match.
It was something.
Yeah, I was expecting much more of a physical brawl, given Hager is a MMA guy and Moxley is Moxley. I was not expecting a submission-based match.
It was Hager versus Moxley in an empty arena match. JR on commentary. So this was recorded. It was recorded in Daily's place, and a few weeks out, obviously, JR actually spoiled that the match was happening on Wrestling Observer Radio or whatever.
Good old JR spoiling stuff. Apparently he didn't realize it shouldn't have been said, but okay.
So, I mean, what do you guys think of the match? I mean, Ed's already said it, but...
I think it wasn't the worst thing ever. It could have been a lot better. It definitely went on too long and was a bit slow. I think the idea of a grapple-based match could have worked if they sold it as that, but they didn't really. So that's mainly my thoughts there. I also feel like I'm just not all that interested in Jake Hager, at least as an event guy. I think he works as Jericho's bodyguard. But that's me.
Maybe let his wife do a lot more talking. She seems to have a better grasp at being a character. Hager.
Oh yeah, she was entertaining. He was the best part of that that package they did. She's quite the heel in her own right. They actually followed up on that. I don't know if you noticed on Twitter. They did a little video.
I saw that video.
He came home and she wouldn't let him back in the house.
I'm a winner, damn it!
That was good.
If they bring his wife more into this, I think Hager could be a much better character. He's kind of notorious for not being that great as a character. As a wrestler, though, pretty damn good. Just need somebody to latch on to.
I mean, he's certainly not someone that I would have thought of AEW bringing in when they first announced him. Brought him in at the first episode of Dynamite, but he has certainly surpassed my expectations. I just don't think he needed a main event level feud. There were people more deserving. I know when we were discussing the match, when we were doing a watch through of it, James brought up the idea of a Havoc versus Moxley hardcore match. I would be so in for that.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good match.
Yeah. Next world title match: Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy.
That could be really good. Could also end up like this Hager Moxley match. Could go one of two ways.
I somehow doubt it. I have a lot more faith in Jimmy Havoc. But anyway, moving on. We spent a while on that.
Well, speaking of things that are kind of bullshit, I have see here that WWE has been releasing a fuck ton of people, despite the fact that they're actually projecting to make a fuck ton of money this year.
Bullshit.
That exactly. Going off the list I have here, there have probably been more, but the list I currently have here are Drake Maverick, who has a hell of an emotional video up on his Twitter, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, who are likely heading back to Japan, it seems like.
Pretty much confirmed by Carl Anderson on Twitter, going back to Machine Gun form.
Heath Slater, who cleverly already has a shirt up on Pro Wrestling Tees in the I Got Kids shirt. It says I Got Fired. It's
pretty great.
Finally is free.
Yeah, EC3, the Drama King, Aiden English, Eric Young, Leo Rush, who I think has a massive amount of potential. Somebody could grab him. He's both very young and very good.
I'm not sure if you named this one yet, but Rusev.
Yeah, it's just going down the list. Mike Chioda is shocking because he's been with them for 30 years?
31 years, 1989 he debuted. One of the longest tenure employees to be on this list. I think probably the longest, actually.
I think Rusev, wherever he goes, he'll be a star. I think hopefully they actually take Aiden with him, because I think Aiden actually made a very good sidekick when they were together. But personal preference, and it's not necessary to get Aiden with him, but I think it'd be a good idea. Mike and Maria Kanellis could definitely do things. They'll probably head back to Ring of Honor, but we'll see. Zack Ryder, it seems almost a lock to go to AEW at this point, with how much Cody's been talking about him.
Yeah, kind of almost confirmed it with tweeting his big WrestleMania moment shortly after his release was announced.
And just earlier today, and it's unconfirmed if he's been released outright or if he's furloughed like others, but it appears Cassius Ohno has recently been moved to the alumni list of WWE's website. So,
yeah, I would say that one is
still up in the air.
No, not still up in the air. I think Cassius Ohno, he's a guy who has a ceiling, kind of like a lot of other people, but I feel like he's been there so long, and he always seemed like a nice enough guy. Like, I mean, that's true of pretty much everyone. I don't know, Cassius Ohno, that one just he never really had a good moment. Same with EC3. Those are the ones that really make me sad.
The thing that makes me not sure is he does a lot of stuff backstage for them. They do view him kind of like a player coach type, so he may be furloughed like the producers, but it's hard to say.
among the producers let go: Finley, Mike Rotunda, Scott Armstrong, Sean Devari, and Billy Kidman, along with a few others. Mike Rotunda is the one who stands out for me on that one. I mean, father of Bo and Bray. Bray even tweeting "yuck" after his father was released or furloughed.
And even
Also, they screwed over IRS on tax day. Anyway.
Yeah.
that one.
Accidental comedy on that one. I'm not gonna lie, kind of funny a little bit, but I feel for Mike, the human.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, it just sucks when it's in such trying times, and like, I mean, yeah, a lot of other people are getting laid off, but this is just horrible for being a company that is doing very well, and like, not like these aren't having a positive effect on WWE's financials, and not that it isn't a good thing for some people like EC3 who weren't doing anything anyways.
Like, I will say, like, some of the people on this list, they've made it fairly clear they wanted out. Mike Kanellis, Rusev, to start. Like, that.
I think
that makes sense.
I think Tainara was also along that list. Deanna Purrazzo was there.
Purrazzo, yes. So there are a few people that did want out and are getting it because of this. The timing's a bit scummy, but regardless, they're getting out as they wished. So that's a plus. But, like, yeah, I'll just stand by. There are some companies that need to do this, and in those cases, it's still, I don't like it, but I can at least kind of understand. WWE does not need to do this, so it's honestly really fucking gross. But speaking of weird corporate bullshit to do with WWE, who wants to take this next news story?
Well, we're getting a third cinematic match in about, 2 months' time?
Two more.
Oh, yeah, we get 2 Money in the Bank matches like this, don't we? Yeah.
It also seems like it might not exactly be a cinematic match. Anyways, sorry, I saw the story.
I don't know how you would not make this a cinematic match. Apparently, Money in the Bank is going to be inside Titan Towers, the last hurrah, probably of Titan Towers, as they'll move out once this coronavirus goes away. But the briefcase is going to be on the top floor, and the wrestlers are going to start on the bottom floor.
And there's going to be a ring on the roof. Perhaps my favorite part of all this is the tagline for Money in the Bank 2020 is now "Climb the Corporate Ladder," which is just objectively great.
It's super clever, but it's also tone deaf considering the context of the last news story.
Oh.
Yeah, this was announced 2 days after a shit ton of releases.
It's a clever tagline, but it's a tone deaf tagline at the same time.
Just got that. Thank you, James.
I also want to point out just how absolute dog shit this poster is for this Money in the Bank. I mean, I was picking apart this on Discord, and yeah, there is a lot wrong in my mind. First of all,
this is my first time looking at it. I think it mostly looks okay, if a bit cluttered and chaotic. The ring looks inflatable.
So a few things I want to point out. One, you see 3 wrestlers are mid-air. Where the fuck did all of them jump from? Where's Lacey, Alistair, and Naomi jumping from? That's one. Number 2, you have the SmackDown Women's Champion and World Champion on the men's side, while you have the Raw Men's Champion and Drew McIntyre there. Why is the NXT Champion there when it's a SmackDown Raw pay-per-view? Where's Becky? Anyone gonna answer that? Where the fuck is Becky on this one?
Here's a question. I'm just
where
gonna
the hell was
point out. I believe
where
it's
the hell was Becky?
One at a time, gentlemen.
I like the idea that one of the Money in the Bank is just dangling from nowhere. The other one is is connected to a helicopter. There's a flag for some reason.
That flag technically is out front of the building, but for some reason in this edit, it's somehow on top of the building. I'm going to give that Money in the Bank.
It's hard to tell because he's small in the picture. Is that Apollo Crews?
Yes,
the bottom left corner? What the fuck is he doing? He's either jumping to his death or jumping from nowhere to dropkick Buddy Murphy in the face. I can't tell which it is.
But anyways,
I will give him a small pass just because I can maybe wiggle my mind to say he was on that ladder that's inside the glass. How he got there, though, I can't wrap my mind around. But he is jumping to his death, along with the other three. Also,
Anyways,
real quick, look at Dolph Ziggler for a second. He's stepping through a ladder and punching air. I could go on all day about this poster. This poster is garbage.
If you can tear your eyes away from a thoroughly interesting poster, but definitely not the worst poster that WWE has ever produced.
I will say worst poster in the Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
Wait. That's going to be a future dark match. Come on, Ed. You have to save the content.
Well, I'm not even gonna spoil that one. That's the worst one in the lineage. I went through that the entire day yesterday. Awful poster for Money in the Bank.
Well, it might be the worst Money in the Bank poster, but it may not be the worst poster ever.
I could see that, but worse than Money in the Bank pay-per-view history.
Speaking of crap WWE art, we don't have to do this now, but at some point we need to talk about list worst wrestling merchandise, because there's been some crap. But
we'll save that for a dark match.
Yeah, we'll save that.
So that was a very pointful tangent. Anyways, what do you guys think about the potential of this match? I think so. The reason I disagree with Ed about it being a cinematic match is because, like, we don't call, say, a match, say, like the hardcore match that we saw at WrestleMania with Edge and Orton, cinematic match. Like, I mean, this could be overly produced like that, but especially because there's a ring on the top, it seems like we're going to get some sort of actual match here in addition to the Titan Tower shenanigans. So I don't know. I'm inclined to think that it's going to be shot like a hardcore, like just a really weird hardcore match.
Well, I think what made the Boneyard match more cinematic than the actual Last Man Standing match is the Last Man Standing match was a known stipulation. Yes, it's still a buried alive match, the Boneyard match, but it took place on another set. There was obvious editing inside of this actual cinematic match. And just the fact it was shot on a different location compared to the Last Man Standing match, the Last Man Standing match started in a ring, like you said. So, okay.
I guess it comes down to what you define as a cinematic match. Regardless of whether it is or not, it's going to be an interesting clusterfuck.
That's for sure.
Be entertaining.
I know people said
it'll hopefully be entertaining. It'll definitely be interesting.
It would. People say the Firefly Funhouse match is a cinematic match, but it's not even a fucking match. So it's only cinematic.
Well, regardless, it was amazing.
I think
though, looking at this poster again one more time, I think
you really want to drag it back into this.
I just had one more thing to say.
Yeah, that's fine.
Though my one disappointment is that there is no $9.99 flag.
Oh yeah, that would have been pretty good. I'm now seeing MVP on the poster, and I still don't know why he's not retired. I thought he retired after Ray match, but
poster 2, and we know he isn't going to be there.
Hold on, who's dead center on that poster? Is that Otis?
Yes, that's Otis.
It's Otis imitating the Bushwhackers.
Yeah, but it's Otis dead center of the poster in the background, glowing like he's fucking God.
I think it's the ring glowing. Then you look at Baron Corbin, and I know he's a big dude, but he looks too large. And I think that's Daniel Bryan drop kicking the dude. He looks way too tiny for D-Bry. Like, oh my God, this poster. Good God.
Okay.
I'm trying to find this. There it is.
I will say the money in the bank briefcase that you won't see attached is probably also attached to a helicopter off screen. I'll give him a break on that one though.
All right. Now that
Ed could go on forever about that crap poster.
Now that Ed, the Emperor of Posters, has finished his tirade, I believe that wraps it up for the pre-show. And we are on to finally actually watching matches with the opener.
This is mine, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, this is brought to you by Mr. James.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Hey, that was mostly together. Good job, guys.
By the way, I just want to point out, we did that bit last time for the ladder match, but if it was an actual ladder match, it wasn't for one fall, but it actually was for one fall. do you see whether we have a slight problem with that if we do it for, say, next week's second match?
No,
Not a ladder match, though. There
Okay,
was
but
a brawl at the end.
Yes, but going into it, we knew it was a ladder match, and we still did that, even though we did not realize it was not a ladder match in technical sense. You see the technicality.
Well,
Let's just keep talking about last week's show that only one person watched.
Oh no, we got 10 views on that.
okay, well, subtract 3 because that was us.
We got 7 views on that. Thank you to the 7 people who watched it.
Including Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Anyway, back to this match, which is scheduled for one fall.
So this is a match from the Canadian leg of WCPW's Pro Wrestling World Cup, which
I
happened
love,
in
by the way. I love that concept.
2017. Well, they only did it once. They didn't do it again.
Well,
Yeah, because WCPW was they generally not super.
And to be fair,
long-lasting,
this was one of the
said.
few legs of the tournament that actually happened in said country, because most of them were just done by WCPW in the UK. I think they did the German one in Germany, and I guess they did the Scotland one in Scotland. And
They did the Japan one in Japan as
England
well.
one. No, I don't think they did. I think they got Japanese people.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong on that. My memory's a bit shit. The USA one was definitely just in their usual areas, though.
They're a small company. They were a small company, so I could see why they would struggle to actually do this worldwide.
Oh, I completely understand it. It's just strange that some of them they pulled off and some of them they didn't.
Yeah, that's a little bit rough.
It was across England, Germany, Scotland. I think.
Yeah, I think the UK and European ones they managed to do in the actual places, and then the Canadian one, and then I think everything else they just did in there.
Oh, you got to hand it to them. It was an ambitious tournament, and it was
a fun tournament all around.
I mean, I think one of the first wrestling shows I watched in full was the English qualifier, and that introduced me to Will Ospreay and one of my favorite wrestlers, Marty Scurll. So yeah, it was a real eye opener for a lot of us people who just watched wrestling just through the internet, through YouTube or whatever.
And I was lucky enough to be at this particular show live, so it was a good time.
Nice. I have watched WCPW. I was not watching the World Cup, though, so I have not seen this particular match yet.
All right. So otherwise, it is a regular one fall match. So without any further ado, we'll start on go. 3,
at 0,
2, 1, go. I am Brent. Yes, at 0.
A little bit of a pre-match promo package by the two.
Yep, that is a thing. They did this for all the World Cup stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. Like it seemed like WCPW in general put a lot of effort into this with get a bunch of different footage and some well-produced packages like this.
Well, I think on some level they realized, oh shit, most of our fans don't know who half these people are.
And they are a journalistic company that does a lot of video editing, so this probably was not that far off from their normal job. Just getting the footage was a little bit more difficult than normal.
And just to be clear, that wasn't me talking shit. Like, that was a valid thought to have, right? Like, a good chunk of our audience doesn't know who Mike Bailey is, and very few members of their audience knew who Brent Banks was.
Karate Kid. Okay, Mike Bailey is not confident. Brent Banks is overly confident. Interesting.
And I Really, so
Okay, well, speaking of editing, whoever edited Mike Bailey's picture, D minus.
Noticing the outline.
Yeah.
That's fair. Also, bullshit. Singles victories over opponent. They showed a clip of them wrestling each other.
that was a multi-man. There were 3 people.
Okay, fine. I'll allow it. Oh my god.
Wow, a Hogan reference.
I think this was just before Hogan made an ass out of himself publicly. So I'm not sure.
This is well, it was uploaded 2017, and the cup is 2017. So I think he made an ass of himself in 2015.
Oh, fair enough. My memory's not great. Also, I love Mike Bailey's entrance. Instead of slapping the hands, he punches the hands.
Well, he is the Karate Kid.
Legit black belt. Legit Taekwondo black belt. So he can do that
so
stuff.
how does he not just kick everyone's ass?
Oh, he's got some cool stuff. And Banks. Also, I love Brent Banks' just entrance setup. It's really good. Ladies and gentlemen, Brent Banks.
That is very nice.
Your announcement in your theme.
What I don't get is he's made some appearances on Progress and they change his theme song, which I get that Progress doesn't want any copyrighted music, but could they really not get the rights to the song that is very clearly a song about Brent Banks?
Yeah, you would think you would own that.
Like, it's not just that intro. There are bits of this song that talk about Brent Banks.
Wow, there's a dude in the crowd with the Montreal Expos cap.
Hot crowd.
Now, have you watched this back, and have you spotted yourself before?
Yes, I don't remember where I was, though.
Certainly a divided crowd.
I will say, going into this was the match that, like, the live crowd knew, because we knew these guys, that it was gonna fucking tear it up, because these guys can go.
Also, that referee looks very familiar, like he's been on SmackDown before. I forget his name.
That's because he has. His Jimmy Corderas.
Ah, that is why.
He was a former WWE ref for quite a while. He's very good. Brent Banks, Speedball.
Yeah, I have not seen those two wrestle, but I've seen Ricochet and Will Ospreay wrestle. And yeah.
Would you agree with that comparison to Will Ospreay and Ricochet, James?
I think they're of similar styles, and they're both very, very good. They may not quite be at their level, but they are exceptional talent. So I think it's a fair comparison. I wouldn't say they'd win that comparison, but I think it's a fair comparison.
I always latch on to this in matches, but yeah, I think commentators are doing a good job of building them up.
That's also true. They may be a fair bit less known, but they are very, very good.
I like how the
Both these guys.
Both these guys.
I like how the ropes represent the country, though.
Yeah, that was clever, and they did do that through the whole thing.
All these guys.
The crowd's chanting Jimmy. Do you enjoy the duct tape on the ring?
I was kind of wondering
Yes.
if the duct tape, if that was ripped or what, but like, I
I
mean,
think there was rips and they've patched it.
it's probably not the worst shape a ring has ever been in, so like,
No.
Why are they talking about Sasquatches?
because there's Saskatchewan.
Well, they're not even in Saskatchewan, but that's...
Ooh, that was a beautiful cartwheel.
What kind of shoes is Speedball wearing?
Sorry, what?
What kind of shoes is Speedball wearing?
He's not. He just has kick pads over no shoes.
That makes two wrestlers I've seen like that. Well, I mean the kick pads are new, but
You're talking about Riddle, because they have faced off, and they shook feet. Instead of shaking hands.
that's very good. That's very good.
Yeah, that sounds fun as hell.
In fact, I do think there was literally a chant of no shoes.
I think I
Of
found the
course there
one
was.
thing that Orange Cassidy's missing.
Crane kicking.
Yeah.
This commentary is very goofy.
I
I
can tell.
love the commentary in WCPW.
It's fun.
I have no clue who's commentating this match, but Dave Bradshaw is always a win. Impressive leapfrogging.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, this is some great stuff.
Yeah.
Also a very good start to the match.
It is a very good start to the match.
I will say, it looks like this is a sold out venue right now.
This was
Well,
the
Jay,
Phoenix
was
Concert
it?
Theater. I don't know if it was sold out, but it felt full. To make this more impressive, this is the second match these guys had this night, because Smash ran a show before this. They ran a matinee before this event. Booked them both.
Wow. It'd be interesting if they went
Swing the
even.
leg.
And remember, this was tournament format, which means one of these two had another match.
Yep.
Oh, indies. Well, luckily, both of these two gentlemen look very in shape and have very high endurance.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's Speedball who had the other match later on, his feet would be very dirty by the end of the night.
Banks's money.
Oh, well, Riley was still in the Indies at this point.
This was one of his later appearances before going to WWE.
Sounds like a fair shake that he would not be getting that far in this tournament.
Also, I can't help but notice that the turnbuckle pads are blue while the ropes are red and white. Isn't this supposed to be Canada?
Well, I'll be honest, I watched them change the setup. The ropes, they literally just have red and white tape. They covered the ropes with.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's not like they got new ropes.
I know. I didn't think that. I'm just saying the colors are more USA than anything.
That's true.
In the Battle of the Blind, the one-eyed man is king. King. No idea what that means. That was a very unique kickoff.
And there's another Hogan reference.
No, that's a Jericho. Ew.
Yeah. Oh, I remember this line. Teeth cocky. Okay.
Alrighty then.
That's such a dumb line. Flush the toilet, cocky.
This is a very good match, though. I am enjoying this.
Yeah. I'd recommend the work of both of these guys. As a general rule, they're both very good.
Yeah, so far my thoughts on this match, it felt very standard, but it's very high quality standard. Like everything being done is like the best version of it I could think of.
Well, it's also flashy as well. It's very flippy.
That's flashy.
Classic flippy shit. It's good stuff. Ooh.
I don't think there's been a flip in this match yet.
There's a spot that only works because Mike Bailey has no shoes on.
What?
Stubbing your toe.
The turnbuckle.
Oh, okay.
Now imagine you did that to not the turnbuckle, but you did it legit. That's how you break a toe.
Yeah.
Did he spit?
I mean, they tend to make spit fly when they get kicked in the gut or take a really strong kick, so probably.
No, I thought Brent kicked his spit hit in between kicking him.
Might have.
Spit in his eyes in between kicking him. That's what I thought.
Duck.
Ooh.
Alrighty then.
I love the pause. Wait for him to pop back up.
I agree. This is awesome.
Slapping himself in time with the claps. Good.
I like that.
He's taking the upper hand with both his feet.
That's some good stuff. I still have no idea who's going to win.
I have my prediction, but
I very much know.
Yeah, you got that.
At first, I was thinking Banks was going to win this. Now I'm starting to think
I
Speedball's
always
going to win
appreciate
this.
that.
Oh,
Ooh,
Blue
right in the
Thunderbomb.
shroud. Not quite Blue Thunderbomb.
I'm not Excalibur, so if I miscall a move, whoops.
That's the best excuse ever. I'm not Excalibur.
So that's a fun indie chant. That was 3-2. It's the dueling.
Sometimes crowds trying to take over actually works.
Well, and this is because they're literally into the match. Like, everything they're doing is reacting to the match.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Or at least in the beginning, it was because they were excited for the match. Right?
Ooh, nice black foot.
Ooh.
Hey,
That was
wacky
a
foot.
good looking kick.
Yeah. So the thing about the Dean Ambrose bounce back thing is it works if you don't do it all the time. Like, it's because it only works if it's a surprise
And
that they're
it's
doing
not
it.
called the wacky line.
Yeah.
That too.
Also this.
What the fuck?
Jesus. I mean, between watching Darby Allin and that one Brian Danielson entrance where he like dives right onto a chair with his head first, I've kind of become used to that, but that was still pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, what is he drinking?
It's a
Water.
bottle of water.
Okay.
I don't
thought
know
it
why
was
there's bottles of water under the ring. I remember that being a
like
thing.
street or something.
Probably so
Oh,
wrestlers
there
could
it
do
is, okay.
exactly that. But that moonsault from the second rope inside the ring over the top rope of the other side of the ring to the outside was holy shit.
Yeah, that's a bit of a signature spot of Mike Bailey. He'll do that in every match. It's always awesome.
I mean, there's a
I don't
large
doubt it.
margin of error for fuck up, so I can see why it's always awesome. See, did he trip or did Banks just not
I
time
think
right?
that looked intended. That looked intended.
I honestly don't know.
They did a
But
good
if it
job.
wasn't intended, he
covering.
saved himself well. Yeah.
Yeah, they. Brent did a good job of selling it too. Like he got up and was like smiling and stuff.
Yeah.
Proud of himself. Ooh.
They did good cover up of a botch if it was a botch.
A Buckle Alabama Slam.
What kind of
Yeah, that was a
that?
Suzuki victory roll. Sorry.
Well, no, because he didn't put his body weight on him.
I think that was because so that Brent could kick out and then he could do the the flipping knee drop.
Salt.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you want to try to pin him?
I know.
Fair enough. I really agree with that, you know?
Yeah.
Ooh, what a hell of a counter. Ooh.
Ow.
Standing corkscrew, whatever we call it. Oh.
He kicked out of his finisher.
Yeah,
that's a very British way of saying that. That's gotta be all. It's gotta be all.
I like it. It's better than...
I like it too. It's definitely better than ball game.
Yeah.
I just haven't heard it phrased exactly like that before.
I like Don Callis's hook the leg over and over, just saying that over and over again.
That makes sense, to be honest.
Oh, so is this like his signature? He went for that a lot more than his finisher. That was a bit of a Canadian destroyer, but Ooh,
I think that was 100% Canadian Destroyer.
probably. Ooh, that is a good finisher.
2, 3.
Hell of a match.
That's probably my favorite finishing move in wrestling.
That looked really good.
Mike
It's
Bailey's
strange.
shooting
I
star
think it
knee
really
drop to the
depends on the
back.
opponent, but it looks hella cool.
Yeah. I believe he calls it the Ultima weapon.
Nice.
I didn't want to say anything because I wanted it to surprise Ed, but I will say going into this match, Mike Bailey was the much bigger name than Brent Banks. This was not a surprising result.
That's kind of what I
Was
figured.
fair enough.
I heard they made a bigger deal of him, kind of when they were announcing the Canadian leg of the tournament.
Well, actually, they originally didn't have him. But then people just went, "What? You're getting Best of Canada, and you didn't grab Mike Bailey?"
So
And they relented and got Mike Bailey.
yeah, one hell of a match. It would go on to be Kyle O'Reilly versus Mike Bailey in the finals for on that same night.
Well, okay, so the way the format worked is, first off, yes, but it was they would have 2 quarters, and then they would have the semifinal matches, but then the 2 winners of those just advanced to the main tournament.
Yeah.
So there would have been, he would have fought Kyle O'Reilly.
So Mike Bailey went on to pin Kyle O'Reilly in a 29-minute match. Or 27-minute match. I just saw that in my recommended right now.
Yeah, also involved, I'm trying to remember who else was in that. Rene Dupree, which was a strange one.
Michael Elgin.
Michael Elgin.
He wasn't
Harry
able to make it to the
Smith,
final tournament.
and someone else.
FTM and Tyson Ducks.
Yes, Dukes. But,
Dukes.
yeah.
Yeah,
FTM, who's sometimes FTM, sometimes he's Frankie TM, sometimes he's Frankie the Mobster. And
oh, okay.
In case you're wondering what the fuck FTM stood for, that's it.
Yeah, one hell of a match. Some good commentary, some even better wrestling, really good wrestling.
That was a very good match and very enjoyable. Lots of flippy shit, but very good nonetheless.
I feel like Ed now wants to see more of Mike Bailey and or Brent Banks.
Well, we certainly got more coming from you, I would assume, James.
It's not unlikely.
Thanks to recommend it.
Lastly, I just that was just something that stood out. Like I mentioned this earlier, but the commentary saying this is the era of independent wrestling. Like I can certainly see that. Like so many big acquirements have made their names on the independent scene before going on to do bigger things. I mean, I'm sure that's always been the case in wrestling, but just especially with the era we're living in now with the internet and YouTube and all this, it's so much easier to access it and so much easier for people to get popular through just these posting videos and getting it out there. So
yeah,
absolutely.
So, and one thing I'll say is the match was very, very good. What made it great, made it exceptional, was how hot the crowd was.
Yes, definitely. The crowd
were into
everything
this
match
for that whole match.
I mean, they had
before the match started.
Yeah, they had to take like 4 minutes, the first 4 or 5 minutes of the match, which is them going back, just getting clean breaks and like trying to calm down the chanting.
I mean, I think half the crowd was chanting both names.
Yeah.
Because they went through it, and then they eventually switched to both these guys.
and then the ref felt left out, so Brent Banks helped him.
Oh, and actually, it reminds me of a chant that happened during a Smash show once, between a match between Brent Banks and Zack Sabre Jr.
Ooh.
It was a good match. But I distinctly remember the crowd. As the show went on, the match went on, the crowd just turned more and more on Zack, and I have no idea why.
Probably because it's Zack Sabre Jr. And I'm assuming he was heel.
He generally isn't a very likable wrestler, but if it started out even, that's kind of funny.
Well, it got ridiculous too, because it wasn't like he had actively done something to piss the crowd off. They just turned on him as the match went on. And like at one point there was an "Oh, Zach's overrated." That was a chant that went on. But my favorite, as a "both these guys" chant starts, it goes both these guys, and then it starts getting overpowered by just Brent Banks, just Brent Banks.
Zach must have been like, "What the hell did I just do to get all this heat? I need to remember it."
Yeah, I think James. I think you've probably been to a lot more live shows than us, so you're a lot more educated on that stuff.
Well, specifically, I've been to a fair bit of Smash.
I've been to a total of
I
0.
don't have any. I have like not a lot of quality wrestling promotions near me. There was one that was, it's pretty much just like kind of very low level indies, nothing on the level of like Smash or anything.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to live close to Toronto, which has some good stuff.
Nice.
All right, so yeah, all around a very good match, and our first match from the land of Maple Leafs.
And now for our second match from the land of Maple Leafs, I believe it's your pick, Austin.
Yes. So this is the mid-card. The following match is set for one fall.
One fall.
Hey, we're getting better at this.
If only we could fix our intro.
So I'm gonna do. I promise it won't be as weird as last time I did this. I'm doing an intro for this. So one night I was up late and I saw ROH had just posted a video about Villain Enterprises, and Marty Scurll is one of my favorite wrestlers. So I looked at it and I found out about PCO and Brody King, two guys I had never heard of before. So I looked up both their names in the YouTube search box, and I found this match: Jeff Cobb versus PCO versus Brody King in Smash Wrestling at Super Showdown 6. As mentioned by James, he is a big Smash Wrestling fan.
Yeah, I was at this show as well, if you want more context.
Of course you were.
So yeah, I was very impressed with this match, and Ed, as per usual, Ed is the only person who hasn't seen this match.
I have not. I am very.
I didn't see the last match, for the record, but
I am very interested in Brody King just because I have him in a TW save.
So, I will say I haven't seen this since I watched it live. These guys didn't really have storylines going into this match in Smash. They were all kind of big names brought in for this event.
That's kind of what I figured from the how the match ends up playing out and stuff.
I mean, some of them had made appearances in Smash before, but it was more individual. They didn't have like a big story going into this match. This was also pre-Villain Enterprises, so PCO and Brody King are in no way aligned.
Yep. Yeah.
Also,
so
Super Showdown is one of Smash's big events of the year, so the crowd's particularly interested.
Cool. So Adam, I did understand this is your first exposure to the wonderful Pierre Carl Ouellet, PCO.
Watching his actual match, yes, but I know the name. I know he was world champion ROH beginning of January.
Well, you'll find out why he's over.
I have another question. Is this your first exposure to all three of these guys?
Well, no, I'm Jeff Cobb in AEW.
Right.
But the other two, yes. Actually, watching their match.
This was my first exposure to all three guys, and I was not disappointed. So anyway, we're starting from the video. Also, all three matches for this week are on YouTube. So if you happen to cancel your WWE Network subscription in protest to the going-ons of this week, no need to worry. We've got you covered with a bunch of YouTube matches.
Yeah, that worked out well. I mean, we definitely planned that.
Totally.
But I mean, we also don't get any matches that have Howard Finkel in them. Kind of a double-edged sword for this week's match. But oh well.
Yeah, we did not know. We actually haven't gone that far back yet, either in any of our picks.
Well, next week we will have hopefully a match that Howard Finkel had an announcing in. So
actually, yeah, probably.
All right. Anyway, let's just start the match in 3, 2, 1.
One fall.
One fall.
I'm just slow.
Brody King cuts such an impressive figure. Really.
I'd argue all three of them do.
Yes, they all do. I don't know. Just Brody King's lighting really complimented it, and he's the first guy coming out.
Oh, you don't need to defend it. You're right. He's a beast.
Jesus Christ.
I really like Brody King. He's certainly underrated.
Yeah. Unlike AEW, we have babyface Jeff Cobb.
Oh, okay.
Which, I mean, I'd say that's certainly how I've always seen him trending.
Yeah, I'll be
Jeff
honest.
Cobb.
With the exception of as Matanza, I would typically say I prefer face Jeff Cobb, but heel Jeff Cobb works too.
Well, we still don't really. He's only appeared once or twice in AEW.
Yeah. Sorry, the one guy yelling PCO.
I love me some PCO.
I was aware that he was basically kind of a Frankenstein monster gimmick, but that video, pretty weird.
He certainly is not human.
I point out the nickname is not human, it's the not human.
There might have been a copyright there for "It's Not Human."
Yeah, I also just think it's an incredible story for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's 52 and he's still he's kind of like Jeff Hart. He reminds me a bit of Jeff Hart in that way, and maybe Jericho. Not obviously not. I don't think he's on their level, but I think we found Smash Wrestling's favorite chant.
Also, holy shit!
Only when they like all the people.
Brody King is fucking large and very catty.
He is.
Also, this is my first time realizing that Brody King actually outsizes both of these guys. Which are these are two pretty fucking big guys.
You mean he outsizes both these guys? Both these guys? How can you beat PCO? He's not human.
Okay.
He did. That's canon.
Ooh, ow.
But that's one not what Brody King is known for. In my opinion, Brody King is a good big man, but he is a better.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he is a better luchador than he is a big man. He's a true luchasaurus.
Patum-shish.
As much as I love Luchasaurus, he generally doesn't go for a whole lot of lucha stuff.
I mean, isn't the story of that? Didn't that name literally come from a chant?
I don't care what you say. PCO has the best suicide dive in the biz. It's just he goes after it with such brutality, and
It's that you can. I give you what you're saying. He both really throws them at you. Also, that is a massive human being flying at you.
Yeah. Last point is the biggest point to be making there. Big human flying.
big not human flying.
That is true.
Correct. Forgive me.
He's not human.
So I know. Big the not human.
Oh, PCO, we love you. Oh yeah, Jeff Cobb just sitting at ringside.
Though I will say this, Cobb might be the smallest of the. He's probably the strongest of the three.
And possibly the most charismatic, although PCO is very special.
Holy crap, that sounded painful.
Looked incredible.
I enjoy the stunned child in the front row.
He's like,
I just noticed it.
I just noticed him too.
I will say what I think one thing that I noticed about this match is I'm not sure if it's the camera setup or the lack of ringside space. It feels very cramped. Maybe it's because everyone is diving to the outside so much, but and all of these men are very large.
That child is very invested in this match, though. Good for him.
Also, how do y'all feel about wrestling without guardrails?
Yeah, live crowd, be advised of flying not humans.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Whoops.
That was both really good and really messed up.
I don't think it was messed up. I think it was realistic. He's doing an arm drag on two giant guys.
Yeah.
Brody King is nearly as tall as the entire ring. Like he can see over through the second rope just being on the ground level.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, individuals like Bliss can barely see over the top rope while on the apron. That is freaky.
I mean, yeah.
Also, Cobb, you freak of nature.
Oh, the man's literally an Olympic powerlifter.
Okay, fair enough.
He was, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, like, this was my first full match of watching Jeff Cobb, but I'd seen so many Reddit clips. I wasn't even surprised by the fact that he can lift that much.
Oh yeah, he can toss anybody around.
The man
like
is a
Rey
beast.
Mysterio.
I have no doubt he could have done that to Braun Strowman.
Yeah, agreed.
Actually, how tall is Brody King in comparison to Braun Strowman? I'm going to find that out after this match, because
it's also hard to tell because WWE tends to put
that spot right there. I love that. He's like, Jeff Cobb looks to Brody King, and Brody King points at PCO, and he says, "He's not human." And then they just both continue slapping him.
Nice. But I Brody King and Strowman are pretty equal in height, probably.
Yeah, I would assume that too.
It looks similar, yeah.
Again, WWE generally either has great camera angles to make you look larger, or you're just surrounded by a whole bunch of big men. Always.
Also, when they put stats up, they bullshit it, so it's hard to even tell.
PCO, please don't die. You're 52 already.
Why is Brody King laying like that? Oh, shit.
Oh, jeez.
For the sake of the spot.
I can't tell if that's what he was trying to do or if he slipped.
He's doing it for science. He's PCO.
See, the good thing is he's not human, so he's not dead.
Yeah. I did enjoy the commentary line. Just call him what he is, a non-human.
No, it's possible for there to be dead, not human. Like,
Well, you can't kill a thing that's already dead.
oh, I love
I
this.
forgot about this.
It's the signature PCO spot, really.
Yeah. There's Destro.
I love that that's his name.
I love that Ed has no words.
And this is not the first time this is not the last time that you will have no words on tonight's show.
I'm sure I'm going to be quiet for most of the main event, but what the fuck is happening?
Destro.
This is his manager.
Destro has a car battery.
This is his manager.
And jumper cables.
It's his professor. It's his Professor Frankenstein.
Dr. Frankenstein, by the way.
Dr. Frankenstein, whatever.
Okay, but he didn't actually touch him with that because that would probably kill him.
Well, I will point out, you notice he has one rubber glove on? Anyway. That's probably why.
I wonder how they...
Sorry! That commentary line!
I didn't know you could do it to people. You can't! He's not human.
Also, I want to know how much testing went into that car battery spot and how many people end up getting unintentionally shocked from it.
I don't think it's that hard.
So I think he did touch him, but he touched the hand with the rubber glove on.
It doesn't even look like he touched him. Like, he puts it near his neck, but doesn't actually touch him. PCO moonsault. I love it.
Big men should not fly like these three big men are.
Yeah.
Two big men. I don't think Jeff Cobb is very fly.
Cobb's a big man.
I'm just saying he doesn't fly a lot.
He can and does.
All right. I'll take your word for it, James.
I've watched this man do standing shooting star presses.
Fair enough. Go Brody.
Bro kick.
Brody kick. For the island.
That was a beautiful moonsault.
Yeah. One hell of a match. It's packed from top to bottom with every moment. It's barely over. It's probably barely over 10 or 11 minutes long. But yeah, I love me some PCO.
Yeah.
That was very good. These three men are very good at what they do.
Indeed.
And PCO is over as PCO is over as heck. That's one thing that I feel we were talking about ROH. I think we were talking about ROH last week because I was talking about Dalvin Castle, and I mentioned how or like PCO is an older guy, and like you should be giving like younger guys the spotlight. But PCO, he's so over. I should never bet against putting the title on the most over guy in the company, and I think PCO was that for ROH.
Yeah, I think context is key. If they can still go and you're still like obviously investing in your younger guys, it's when they can't really go and they're not really investing in the area that it's a problem.
Oldberg.
Yeah. I mean, I would make the same arguments for Jericho, right? Like
he can still go, and he's still very good.
No, I meant the same arguments you'd make for PCO. I'd make for Jericho.
Yeah.
I thought you were comparing Jericho to Goldberg. I was like, wait, what? But quick Google search: Brody King is billed at 6'5", while Braun is at 6'8". So they're more or less the same height.
Acknowledging that WWE exaggerates, yeah, they're probably about the same.
if you watch a Braun Strowman match anytime soon, see if he can see over the second rope. If he can, he's probably the same height as Brody King there.
No guarantee the rings are even the same size.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, very good match.
And it was.
Once again,
It's what I would call a modern Haas fight.
Boss fight.
But also surprisingly felt pretty high work rate with some of the stuff they were doing in there.
Yeah, that's why it's a modern Haas fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think
Modern equals high work rate.
Yeah. Do you think Big E would like that kind of Haas fight?
I think he would.
Haas fight.
But would Big E
man
want
slap
to
him at
get
feet.
anywhere near any of these guys? Or
I'm pretty
not
sure.
guys?
I'm pretty sure he would love to fight Jeff Cobb. Him and Jeff Cobb have a very similar.
Oh, that
build.
would be a good match.
I mean, Big E versus any of these three would be a good match.
Yeah. Big E
Yep.
for world champion, please.
Woo.
Yeah, that was a great match. I remember it being fun. I actually forgot who won that match, but I had a feeling it was Cobb.
Yeah, I would say the right guy won because I mean other two looked very impressive, and I mean of all the guys who would need a win, I would say it I mean Jeff Cobb at that time he was and still is like one of the biggest names on the independent scene. So
Yeah, well, I'd say at the time that match happened, Cobb was the biggest name in that match.
definitely.
PCO was picking up, but he hadn't gotten the Ring of Honor deal yet, and Brody King was also more on the rise.
All right, yeah, so that was a good match, and if James was breathless at that PCO signature spot,
You keep confusing me and James.
I'm deeply sorry about that. Anyways, it's time for the main event.
Which is scheduled for one fall.
One fall!
3
Oh,
for 3.
there we go.
Is
Close
actually,
enough.
Is it actually scheduled for one fall? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, cool. It works. But the main event of the evening is the final deletion between Broken Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. Hardy versus Hardy. Brother versus brother. Batshit crazy versus batshit crazy.
Really quick, I just want to point out that our opener was the longest video and longest match. Or not longest match, but it had the longest video.
Yeah, the longest runtime.
Yeah, the longest runtime. Yeah, so this is Ed's first time watching Hardy versus Hardy and watching generally a match from Broken Matt Hardy, I believe.
Well, I think he saw the WWE stuff. He saw the Ultimate Deletion.
I've seen the Ultimate Deletion.
Oh, okay. Sorry to speak for you, Ed.
But this is the first time. I didn't watch much of the Impact stuff. Only a few tidbits like the draft with George Washington's soul. And some bit of the Lake of Reincarnation where he was trying to revive Brother Nero to Brother Nero. And he was going through that whole stuff.
So James, which one of us is going to try to explain some of the very wacky elements of this match that Ed might not be aware of?
Well, I think the basics of it are Matt Hardy went put through a table. That resulted in him becoming broken, which, depending on your perspective, he's either batshit crazy or what he says is true, in which case his essence was awakened, and now he's aware of everything, including all of his previous lives.
He's enlightened.
Yes, and he views Jeff as obsolete. He consistently refers to him as Brother Nero, and says that he will delete him. I think that's a very, very general way of summing up what happened.
I know when he brought
Mostly
back...
because I don't know every detail.
Yeah, I know when
there's just some things in the match that are a bit confusing that
I know when
I'll explain them.
I know when he came to AEW, I read an article kind of summarizing most of what his Broken Universe was normally.
Well, if you
But
Well,
if
I
you
think a
haven't-
lot of it like started here and it just fucking came out of nowhere. So I think
yeah,
so to be fair, a lot of it didn't come with context, it just was insane.
uh-huh.
sounds wonderful.
Maybe I'm wrong.
There's one thing in particular I'm thinking of that they kind of had context for.
Well, you're welcome to give the context then. Don't know.
When I'll give it when it happens.
Fair enough.
All right, Ed.
Well, in 3, 2, 1, go.
The Hardy compound has appeared in Impact, WWE, and AEW now. So
Why are they throwing Maxwell a fiesta party?
I
Oh, wait,
believe
never
it's
mind.
his birthday party.
I'm already loving this.
what am I? I love how Reba appear is like just totally takes it in stride. If you haven't already, go listen to Talk is Jericho of Matt Hardy talking about the origin of all this. It's just so great.
Good idea.
I love how Jeff is just, this is how Jeff spends his time.
Here's the thing, I actually 100% believe Jeff Hardy would do this.
He would. He honestly would. I
We
mean, he
just
is
had
an
a-
artist.
Like, I feel like that's a real thing. I feel like they didn't do that for the video. I feel like he was gonna do that anyway.
Senor Benjamin, he's an actual bit he was an actual like I forget what the term is. A guy who takes care of an apartment building, like a janitor on an apartment building. So he's a totally normal guy, like groundskeeper sort of guy, actually. It's Vanguard One's kids.
Yeah, first off, Benjamin is Rebby's father. It's Matt's father-in-law. It's who Benjamin is.
I didn't know that.
I just checked to make sure I was right. I googled that, but I was right.
Rest in peace, Vanguard 2 and Vanguard 3.
Hey, they said the name.
What were the other deletions before this, though?
This was the first one.
I know, it is called the final deletion.
Yep. Just swatting drones like flies.
That's Vanguard 4 and Vanguard 5.
I love how his reaction to this bullshit is just, hell no, I'm going to go after him. Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot this had ads cut into the middle of it.
Bit of a sad reminder at the moment.
Yeah. Originally Matt had a version on his YouTube channel that didn't have those ads stuck in the middle of it, but I think Impact made him
No,
take it down.
just because it was Spud, and he was
I
talking
know.
about being in the gutter on Thursdays. Our earlier landscaping escapades.
This is
I would very much like to see them.
This is just craziness. Oh, hey, a referee's coming.
I believe that's Ed's thoughts.
Yeah, what is this?
That
I
was
am the
everyone's
referee.
thoughts.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to say Antonio Cesaro.
No, it's a Stradivarius. It is supposedly a Stradivarius violin.
I knew you'd come.
Hi, James Storm.
Okay then.
One way or the other, you're getting slapped by James Storm.
Okay. Well, here we go. This is
So
now
would this
in match.
would this be a cinematic match since it's actually starting in a ring? Because didn't we make that claim that if it starts in a ring, it's not a cinematic match? But this is criticized or highly acclaimed as the cinematic match that started all of this.
Listen, I was just saying, like, you wouldn't call the Boiler Room Brawl between Mankind and Undertaker a cinematic match. So if that's the style in which the Money in the Bank match is going to be shot, then it doesn't count as a cinematic match in my eyes.
I'd argue different people would have a different line.
Yes.
I think most would consider this is.
What the hell did he just pull out?
It's like something it's that thing you put in your garden is like lattice wall.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. It's a lattice wall. I couldn't think of the words.
Hey, he did it too sweet to the camera.
I also love the constant epic music backing.
Twist of Fate.
Twist of Hate.
Oh, was he calling it that at this
It's the
time?
same move. He just called it the Twist of Hate.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Where'd that kendo stick come from?
That's the least of Matt Hardy's powers.
What did he just grab?
It's a ladder.
I could not see, but yep, that is indeed a ladder. That looks like a ladder that would be in the ROH match. Not that very sturdy.
It's barely. It isn't even a stand up on its own ladder.
I'm sure Jeff would have found a way to jump off if he was allowed to.
Give him some time.
Just bite him in the ribs.
I think in the hand, but maybe the ribs.
It must have been so interesting to film this match. Like, come on.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Matt Hardy's book.
I mean, a book by either one of these two. Jeff hit the Twist of Fate and the Swanton, and it still didn't put Matt down. Now, is it still a Twist of Fate if he does it in the stunner form?
That's a yes.
So my father, I got into wrestling around WrestleMania 33, which is where the Hardys returned to WWE. So he's a big Hardy Boys fan because I showed him a bunch of their matches. But he has no clue about this stuff. Like, I try to explain to him, and he's just like, don't. I don't want to hear about it.
I appreciate your story, but I'm more concerned than what the fuck Jeff is about to do.
Yeah.
Oh, he's climbed a tree.
That's a fair point.
Ow. Ow. Just ow.
Ow, all the way home.
Did you not see the ladder behind the tree?
I did. I was wondering when Jeff was going to climb that.
And you knew it was going to be Jeff. It's always Jeff that jumps off the high place.
Somehow Jeff gets the cover for Matt.
Yeah, that was a little confusing. You know that he landed hard, though, because he bent that ladder.
Yes.
Oh boy,
I
here we
love
go.
this. This is where it truly becomes the final deletion.
He's pretending to be Captain America with that.
So when you put this on, were you expecting Matt Hardy to be shooting Jeff Hardy with fireworks while Jeff protects himself
Other
with
way-
a garbage
yeah,
can
yeah.
lid?
Nope, not at all. I kind
It
of knew
gets
there were
better.
fireworks,
It
but I
does
didn't know
in
the
fact-
shield spot.
It does, in fact, get better.
There's a rake.
Not quite a rake. The framing. Oh shit! Quiet.
Hello, dilapidated boat.
It's a dilapidated boat.
Damn right, oh shit.
I still love It's a Dilapidated Boat. Like, it's so great. By the way, the Dilapidated Boat would be named after this. It would be named Skarsgård. That is the name of the Dilapidated Boat.
Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the thing that will require context is about to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, his
Yeah, this is his creepy variation, Willow.
yeah, Willow. That's the name.
Okay.
He went the Lake of Reincarnation. Now he's back to his old form, if I'm correct.
Senor Benjamin!
And oh wow, the taser spot didn't work like Goldberg's spot.
With the pink taser.
Oh, that's the match. Hope you enjoyed it, Ed.
Nope.
I know.
This is very entertaining.
I forgot that Jeff was even that good in this match, but yeah, he's got some good ad-libs.
I mean, I stand by damn right, oh shit is one of the best lines in the whole thing.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Oh, look, a giant Jeff Hardy logo.
I think that's a Hardy Bros.
Yeah.
Logo.
Is it?
Bro.
Okay.
I think
My
that's the
mistake.
Hardy Boys, yeah. And of course, they made it climbable.
God, how melodramatic this is.
Jeff, do not go near the fire. Jeff, do not go near the fire. Jeff, do not go near the fire.
Oh my god! He has been deleted.
I'm sure if they have any neighbors around, the burning of that symbol might have drawn a little bit of ire.
I don't think that's the thing to worry about. All right, so that's the final deletion.
Holy shit.
Damn right, holy shit.
I have no more words.
That's a fair reaction.
If you got the joke, you got the
I got the
joke.
joke.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Speaking of which, yeah, so the Lake of Reincarnation's powers were used on Jeff afterward to become Brother Nero, and then they were later used on Bray Wyatt to become for a small time he was like the friendly one, and he came back at WrestleMania 34 and stuff. And then he turned into the Fiend, and now he's reverting wrestlers back to their old selves.
Someone took some inspiration.
Yeah. And in general, this was the birth of the cinematic match, which is fairly topical with what happened at WrestleMania 36
And
and what may be
coming up?
coming. Yes.
That was very entertaining. Ending
Yes.
was a slight dud, I'll be honest. Jeff was about to jump off, and then he took a weird bump from the thing catching on fire, and then dead.
Oh, hold on. You did just watch a man fall off a giant flaming structure.
That was probably shot to make it look a lot larger than it actually was.
Probably.
I think the hardest bump of the match was Jeff off the tree into the ladder.
Well, okay, to be fair, also there was a big hole, and he fell not into the hole. It's probably how he didn't fall as far, but still.
Yeah, that was not fun.
It also should be noted that a lot of the WWE stuff and a fair amount of the Impact stuff would not have been possible without Jeremy Borash, who was at the time in Impact and is now in WWE. So he was involved, I believe, in the production of the Boneyard match at the very least. I'm not sure what his involvement might have been in the Firefly Funhouse match, but
Thank you, Borash. Thank you, Borash. Thank you, Borash.
I will say, I do enjoy this comment from 3 years ago. Just as Jeff got sober, Matt got high.
That's a little rough.
With the wonderful reply of, they're both always high.
Yeah.
That comment also hasn't aged particularly well with Jeff having gotten, I believe.
Yeah, I did point out it was from 3 years ago.
Yeah, he's had at least 2 DUIs.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that was the final deletion.
That was very good, though. Very entertaining.
Brother Nero, I see you have met my fleet of aerial assault robots.
A quick rest in peace for Vanguards 2 through 5. May they rest in drone heaven. And may they not. That would be the true. That's what Jericho should do. He should enlist Vanguards 2 through 5 and have them join the Inner Circle.
I do enjoy that over time, Vanguard 1 stop being just a drone that Matt Hardy pilots. It is literally a character on its own.
And it's the way they introduce Matt Hardy into AEW.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, the broken character has continued to evolve. I mean, one thing I could think of that wasn't in here was Reby playing the piano for Matt's entrance.
No.
That's all. That's something that happens later on.
Are you saying that this was the start of something brilliant?
I would argue
some might even call it
wonderful.
a broken. Some might even call it a broken brilliance. But yeah, James had a better comeback there.
Wonderful.
It's interesting to me that they somehow WWE somehow kind of messed up broken Matt Hardy, but then they went on to do the Fiend, which I don't know. I think the Fiend is a much bigger risk than broken Matt Hardy.
One thing I will say is, well, I will agree that that WWE kind of did drop the ball on Broken Matt a bit. The Ultimate Deletion was very good.
The Ultimate Deletion was very good, and then they just had nothing for him after that.
They also did have a rough start, considering they did not have licensing for Broken Matt and had to go with the Woken Matt.
Yeah, but they did start it eventually, and I mean, like some of the earlier stuff with him and Bray trading barbs was pretty good. Like his reveal where he did. Apparently what happened, this is from the Talk is Jericho podcast, is Vince heard the laugh and he's like, that's great, I want more of that. And so the woken Matt Hardy, as it were, just became woken Matt Hardy laughing.
That's usually how that goes for Vince McMahon. See Dean Ambrose in germaphobe mode.
Well, that was also trying to bury him before his contract ran out. But yeah. I feel like that might have been part of it. Whatever. But yeah, really good match.
Well, so now
really
that you have finally experienced the final deletion, you've not watched it, you've experienced it.
Yeah, that was totally an experience. That's for damn sure. Woof.
Mhm. Yeah, this has certainly been quicker than last week's episode, I think.
Well, we did rambled like all hell on the pre-show, especially me with the poster.
But we aren't done yet because we have a rather interesting dark match to discuss.
This time picked by James.
All right. So I will say that what I chose is the match that carried the show. Now, what that means to you can vary. It might be a crap show that had one good match that made it feel a bit better. It could be one show that was all around good, but had one match that made it a great show. Regardless, it's that one match that really does pull the rest of the show up.
So, real quick before we talk about our picks, do you guys want to say which you did for what your interpretation was?
I went for a match that made a crap show minorly less crap.
Yeah, I went for the same thing. I'm not sure what James
So
did.
I went for a show that was a good show, but the one match is the one match people really remember for it, and it is what made it into a very good. Like it's what made it great.
All right.
I did have 3 picks just because I am picking last, but it sounds like my first pick, which is the one I can argue better, is actually going to go through. Yay!
All right. So, James, you want to start us off?
All right. So as you've heard me explain the match, and the show is the first NXT Takeover Toronto. You've probably figured out which match it is now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was a good show, but let's face it, you can only think of one match from that show.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. There was some good matches.
It was a show where like most of the matches were good. I don't think anything was bad. Like there wasn't a match to complain about on that show, but nothing was great. But then it also had like one of the best matches in NXT.
And Ed, you know what we're talking about, right?
DIY versus the Revive.
I have seen this entire pay-per-view, yes.
Good. Sorry, Ed. But yeah, James, continue. If there's anything else to say.
I mean, I'll make an argument against. This also featured Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura in the main event.
Which was a surprisingly disappointing match. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as you'd expect from those two people.
Fair enough.
It's a very good match. I think if I had to argue with it, I would say there's plenty of other really, really good matches that have happened on decent shows. So this is just one of those, but it's a very good.
Yeah, it does stand out. Like there was other matches on there. There was
AOP versus
TM61. That was the Shark Cage match.
That's what I thought it was, and it was for the Dusty Rhodes.
Yes, it was, and that was a good match, and there wasn't a bad match. It's just nothing stood out like that tag match, and that tag match was excellent, very much.
I will say that,
and like there was Ty Dillinger versus Bobby Roode, and I'd say that's where the 10 thing started to get crazy. Was that match because it was Canada, so he had the hometown thing, and that's when it started happening during all the shows, not just his matches.
This match does feature the two teams that are considered like the bright spot in this era of NXT, where it was Shinsuke. I mean, Shinsuke was really good. His title reign was a bit disappointing.
Yes.
And same thing with Bobby. Definitely same thing with Bobby Roode, and in some ways Drew McIntyre. Although towards the end of Drew McIntyre's is where NXT really started to pick up with Takeover War Games. But this was the high spot. It can be argued to be the high spot in that entire era of NXT,
especially for the tag teams.
Yep.
Yeah, that match was just exceptional, just amongst what was all around for an NXT takeover rather weak. And takeovers are known for being excellent, so it was.
Yeah, probably the highest quality show on the highest quality show.
Yeah, that I mean, NXT is always pulling out great numbers, even if they have a slightly weak show. In terms of weak, it still ranks high among its peers, just not its NXT takeover peers.
Yeah, the other match on the card was Asuka defeating Mickie James. And Mickie James
I mean,
had that
that's
surprise appearance,
certainly
which
a
was
highlight
good.
match.
It was a good match. Like I said, the other 3 matches or 4 matches on the card were good, but they just weren't anywhere near as good as that tag match. And they're not necessarily as good as you'd expect from TakeOver either. I think what made it, that match did make that show, in my opinion.
I think I can definitely agree with that. No doubt. That match, just looking at the card, overshadows the other ones, no matter how good they actually were. It's just crispy.
All right, so real quick, if it's all right, we go on to my match. I would suggest for those of you who don't want to suffer painful memories, you skip my pick. It is Backlash 2018. So this was a very bad show. This was the first pay-per-view that joined the brands after the second brand split. We were getting 2 pay-per-views a month with each being themed to a different brand. This one had both for the first time. But anyway, my pick for the match was, there was a really good Seth Rollins defeating The Miz was a really good Intercontinental match. This was in the aftermath of WrestleMania 34. But then everything afterward was shit. If you excuse my language. Nia Jax defeated Alexa Bliss, and if I remember correctly, she then cut an anti-bullying promo afterwards. Jeff Hardy defeated Randy Orton.
Well, I'm not going to say it was amazing. Actually, I remember that storyline being surprisingly good, and then for whatever reason, they turned face Nia Jax, which was working heel after like a month.
Yeah, because Ronda Rousey was a thing.
Yeah.
I do remember just being totally cheap. I just did not feel good about that anti-bullying. That, like, it felt like the entire point of the feud was just to be an anti-bullying message, and it was then soured by Nia turning heel for the next pay-per-view, basically.
Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad, but they also shot themselves in the foot immediately with it.
And then Bliss immediately cashed in her Money in the Bank contract, winning it, and then immediately cashing in, ruining the Nia Jax Ronda match that they turned Nia for.
Continuing, Daniel Bryan defeated Big Cass. I mean, this was his return to singles competition, but it was also it was 7 minutes and 45 seconds, and it was a weird feud. I mean, it was Big Cass going on and on about how short Daniel Bryan is. Like, it felt like we've been here before. Like, we've talked way too much about how Daniel Bryan is not enough or short. He's enough. Like, I don't know. I think later on in the feud, Big Cass had a little person come out as Daniel Bryan or something like that. I might have a bad memory. It
no, that happened.
Okay. Carmella defeated Charlotte Flair in a match. I'm sure some people might have cared about it, but I didn't particularly care for Carmella. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura ended a draw for a no disqualification match.
That's not the first time that's happened in recent years.
Yes, but this was 2018. Like, we still had some concept of sanity, and that was after 21 minutes.
Well, yeah, because sanity was still in NXT at the time, I think.
Thank you, Ed, for repping sanity.
Sanity.
But yeah, this if you'll remember, this is when Shinsuke his gimmick was
dick
being
punch.
Asian and doing dick blows.
Well, don't phrase it like that.
Oh, okay.
It was one thing a lot of people did hate on the "I know speak English" line. I actually thought it was good because he does speak English. We know that he was being a dick.
It was a good heel move.
But yeah,
that
there are definitely some.
Yeah, they would go on to have a much better match at Money in the Bank, where it was a last man standing match. But yeah, this one wasn't good. And another thing to point out is this was after the Greatest Royal Rumble. This was after a Saudi show, so the first Saudi show, in fact. So that kind of defeated the purpose. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley defeated Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a match no one cared about. And also, I want to say this was before the infamous Bobby Lashley promo, or the infamous Bobby Lashley backstage segment or whatever, and then Sami Zayn bringing out his sisters and all that weird stuff. There was a lot of bad storyline stuff going on at this time.
Yeah, that storyline was pretty damn terrible.
And then Roman Reigns defeated Samoa Joe in a match where most of the crowd had left like halfway through the match. It was basically a whole bunch of rest hold.
Fair enough.
But anyway,
I will say I think the Hardy Orton match wasn't as bad as it was. They had actually a pretty good feud. And while the story for Jackson Bliss might have been rough, those two do have good chemistry together inside the ring. So those two, outside of Rollins and Miz, which definitely looks like the absolute workhorse.
Yeah,
match.
Rollins and Miz was a very good match. I specifically remember this. It might have even made some people's top 10 lists.
I mean, it makes sense.
It was a very good match.
It's Rollins and Miz. Both are really good workers, despite what you might think about Miz being safe, but he is a great IC champ, and that was for the workhorse belt. So, I mean.
And another notable thing about it is it started the show, so everything past it was bad. Like, so it really helped increase the impression of in a time with some bad storylines and just most of the matches were either bad, had bad storylines, or I didn't care about them. So yeah, that's why I would say that Seth Rollins versus The Miz carried Backlash 2018. Yeah, I feel like I took up a lot of time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. The first three I can kind of get behind, but after that, the rest of the card duds. But yeah, first match Rollins Miz, pretty good.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there.
So my pick, though, if I may, is actually from probably one of the worst pay-per-views in WWE history. And that is December to Dismember 2006. I don't know if either of you gentlemen know this one.
I know of it.
But
I watched Brian Zane's review of it.
Now, there were 6 matches on this card. 4 of them didn't cross the 8-minute mark. 2 of them went 20 minutes. One of them is the match I want to talk about, which actually also opened the show. But this show also had the worst elimination chamber in the history of the match, which was the Extreme Elimination Chamber for the ECW World Championship. This was the other match that went over 20 minutes.
Which does beg the question, how did WWE manage to fuck up Elimination Chamber with weapons?
I have no idea. Well, first off, actually, CM Punk was in this match.
Yeah, I was
over as hell.
It's called I got 3 words for you. CM Punk.
Yeah, he was the first one eliminated from that Elimination Chamber. And that's the main event. So the favorite went out immediately. And the final 2...
Also, Paul...
Go ahead.
Also, Paul Heyman was a heel at this time.
I mean,
supporting the Big Show.
Okay, yeah.
In ECW.
Yeah. He was actually the final 2, Big Show, along with Bobby Lashley, who ended up winning that match. But the match that I actually think helped the show and actually makes it not as shit, but still shit, is the Hardy Boys versus Eminem, which opened the show and was the other match that went over 20 minutes. Now, I have not personally seen this match, but I have seen them work on SmackDown, and those 2 teams had a great chemistry. They had that match where they broke Joey Mercury's nose. They were just always very good together in the ring. And this is the other match that went over 20 minutes. The rest of the show was Balls Mahoney versus Matt Striker in a Striker's Rules match. Then you had Elijah Burke.
Matt Striker was a kindergarten teacher at this time. That was his gimmick.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was an actual teacher.
Yeah, he was. He was both.
Leaned into it.
Then you had Elijah Burke versus Sylvester Turkey, defeated the FBI, which was Lil Guido and Tony Malamuk with Trinity. Then you had Davari with Great Khali defeat Tommy Dreamer. And then you had Ariel and Kevin Thorne defeating Kelly Kelly and Mike Knox.
I gotta say, it is very strange reading Davari with the Great Khali as opposed to the Great Khali with Davari.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But none of those matches in the middle of that show went more than 8 minutes. The longest one is the mixed tag match that went 7:43. Hardy's went 22:33, and then the Chamber went 24:42. But everything. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Continue.
No, everything on this card is dog shit, but the chemistry of the Hardy Boys and Eminem and just the match in general is the only thing saving this match from being one of the worst ever in terms of all promotions. This show is just awful.
Ed, I know you mentioned. Did you say you watched the match or not?
I did not watch this match. I'd have seen them work on SmackDown, but they do have great chemistry, so the match itself is gonna be good. But everything else on the show is not worth watching at all.
Yeah, I've not seen it either, but I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to see Hardy Boys versus Eminem. So he's probably right.
I know I've heard a lot of people say very good things about that particular match, along with saying the rest of the card is complete shit. And again, just reading it off and knowing about that Elimination Chamber match, this card is only saved by the opener.
I also haven't seen it. Brian Zane apparently rated it 3 stars out of 4 in his video on it, so it probably was a pretty good match. Real quick, before we do our outro, first, just to name the picks again, we have from James, hashtag DIY versus the Revival at Toronto Takeover Toronto 2016.
Yep.
I had Seth Rollins versus The Miz at Backlash 2018, and Ed had Eminem versus the Hardy Boys at December to Dismember 2006. Real quick, I'm very surprised that none of us picked a WCW show when those like I distinctly remember just from watching a lot of wrestling retro reviews, a lot of bad WCW shows that had like good cruiserweight stuff, like especially like later 2000s WCW.
To be fair, none of us are old enough to have actually watched WCW live.
Yes.
That's
probably.
Yeah. That's the reason.
James and I are the oldest at 23, which means we were a wee baby when WCW was closing. Never mind on air.
Okay, well, so yeah, that was the dark match.
I will say my other 2 picks were the men's Royal Rumble from this year, and then the 3-on-1 handicap match for the IC title at this year's Elimination Chamber. Those are my other 2 picks. If somehow
I'd agree with the second half of the men's Rumble from this year.
In hindsight, the first half is actually really great. While you're watching it, it starts to drag way too long. You're like, what the fuck are you doing, WWE? But then when you realize it's building towards Drew McIntyre's triumph, then you're like, oh, that's actually crispy. Yeah, that's good.
It's like the opposite of Edge versus Orton.
Yeah, I mean, I like Edge versus Orton. Kind of went a little bit too long, but I mean,
Oh, the build was great. Just the match itself was
kind of drag.
Kind of a drag,
yeah. That's for another podcast. But with that,
I mean, we could talk about it. The card is subject to change. It's too easy.
I love our title. It's very easy to play.
I believe we're uploading these to YouTube.
Yeah, we're uploading these to YouTube.
All right. So if you have an opinion on the dark match, leave your vote in the comments below.
Last week's dark match, we do not have any votes for it. I will try to get
three-way tie.
I'll try to get. Come on, James. Even if it is card subject change, no one likes a no finish.
And sometimes it's useful. Other times, not much.
Anyways, so yeah, this has been card subject to change. I believe this episode is called of Maple Leafs and Deletion of Dilapidated Boats and Maple Leafs.
which is a great fucking title.
Thank you, Ed.
Ed really likes
Anyways,
this
so
title.
we hope all 1 to 2 of you have enjoyed this, and we will see you next week.
Have a good
bye.
night.
And until next time, we're still hacks.
We're still hacks. We're still hacks.